Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, what am I really meant to do in this life? Maybe you feel lost, like you're drifting from one thing to the next without real direction. You're not alone. Many people spend their whole lives chasing success, approval, or comfort, only to realize they still feel empty inside. But what if the key isn't found outside at all? What if your purpose has been within you all along, waiting to be uncovered? Today, we're diving into the Buddha's wisdom on Dharma, the ancient yet timeless path to finding your true calling. Let's begin. Why this wisdom matters. Modern life can feel like a relentless chase. We pursue achievements, wealth, and validation, hoping they'll bring contentment. Yet the moment we reach one goal, another appears on the horizon, leaving a lingering question. Is this really what I'm meant to do? Centuries ago, Buddha noticed the same restless cycle. He realized that the mind's endless cravings and fears keep us from understanding our deeper calling. His solution wasn't about acquiring more, but awakening to who we already are. Dharma, in Buddhist teachings, refers to the universal law that each being has a natural path, a way of living that brings harmony and fulfillment. Rather than chasing outside approval, Buddha taught that true purpose emerges from looking inward. When you align with your Dharma, you stop feeling like you're drifting without a compass. Life takes on a sense of direction and meaning, guiding you toward lasting peace and genuine fulfillment. What is Dharma? Dharma, in Buddhist philosophy, is often described as the natural order or truth that governs life. But on a personal level, it's the path that resonates with your deepest self, the calling that aligns with your unique nature and abilities. Siddhartha Gautama discovered his Dharma when he left behind the empty comforts of palace life to seek a higher truth. The process of finding it wasn't about picking a random mission, it was about seeing clearly what he was born to do: lessen suffering in the world. In your own life, Dharma doesn't have to be a grand gesture like renouncing royalty. It could be as simple as using your gifts. Maybe you're a born teacher, a healer, or a creator. The key is feeling an inner click, a sense that what you're doing aligns with your values and talents. Buddha taught that living your Dharma isn't about self-indulgence. It's about participating in the flow of life's natural harmony. The importance of introspection. Many people struggle to find their purpose because they rarely pause to look inward. Buddha spent years in meditation, not to avoid the world, but to truly see his own mind. Through silence and introspection, he uncovered a deeper vision for his life. In our age of ceaseless distractions, carving out time for stillness is more vital than ever. Introspection means deliberately turning your focus inward, observing your thoughts, emotions, and instincts without immediate judgment. You might start by asking, what activities bring me a quiet sense of joy? Or, what problems do I care about solving? Just as a calm lake reflects the surrounding landscape clearly, a quiet mind reveals genuine passions and interests. This clarity doesn't appear overnight, but each moment spent in meditation, journaling, or peaceful reflection peels back another layer of self-ignorance. According to Buddha, knowing yourself is the first step toward knowing your Dharma, overcoming attachments and illusions. Buddha famously taught that suffering arises from attachment, clinging to people, possessions, or ideas as if they were permanent. This same attachment can cloud our sense of purpose. Often, we latch onto identities, like a lucrative career or social status, because we believe they define us or keep us safe. Yet these attachments can block our true calling if we chase them for the wrong reasons. Imagine someone who dreams of being an artist but sticks to a corporate job for prestige or security. Their attachment to approval or comfort suppresses the very spark that would guide them toward their authentic path. Buddha's insight wasn't about rejecting all responsibilities. It was about recognizing illusions. Things change, reputations fade, and rigid expectations often lead to disappointment. By letting go of what you feel forced to be, you make room for what you genuinely are. In that space, Dharma has the freedom to emerge. Mindfulness as a key to purpose. Mindfulness isn't just a relaxation technique. In Buddha's life, it was the gateway to self-discovery. When you practice mindfulness, you pay close attention to each moment, your breath, sensations, and thoughts, without judging or altering them. This openness reveals the motivations and desires that typically hide beneath the surface. The more you observe your mind, the more patterns you see, clarifying what truly resonates with you. Consider how often you make decisions on autopilot, influenced by habit or social pressure. Mindfulness disrupts this cycle by shining a light on the reasons behind your choices. Over time, you might notice that certain activities energize you while others drain your spirit. You'll also see which values consistently guide you toward fulfillment. This awareness helps you discern between fleeting impulses and genuine callings. Buddha's quest under the Bodhi tree wasn't about escaping the world. It was about understanding his mind. From that understanding, his purpose naturally unfolded. The role of service in discovering Dharma. When Buddha attained enlightenment, he didn't vanish into solitude. Instead, he spent the rest of his life teaching and helping others. His compassion was woven into his Dharma. This illustrates a powerful truth. Your purpose often intersects with benefiting others. Not because self-sacrifice is required, but because we thrive in community and find deeper meaning through service. Think of someone whose natural talent is cooking. If they keep it to themselves, it remains just a skill. But if they share it, nourishing friends or running a small eatery, they transform cooking into something purposeful. By alleviating hunger or simply bringing people joy, they're living their Dharma. Buddha taught that the highest calling involves a harmony between your gifts and the world's needs. Service helps ensure you're not just chasing personal gratification. Instead, you connect with humanity, experiencing a sense of unity that can't be replicated by purely self-centered goals. Embracing impermanence to find direction. A crucial Buddhist teaching is impermanence, the reality that everything changes. How does this help in finding your purpose? It reminds you that waiting for the perfect time is an illusion. Conditions will never be flawlessly stable, and your interests or circumstances might shift over time. Buddha observed that people often postpone living in alignment with their deeper truths because they're stuck in someday thinking. Embracing impermanence frees you to act now. Yes, your passions may evolve, and that's okay. Dharma isn't a single static point, but a path that flows with life's changes. You might realize that a calling that once defined you no longer ignites the same spark, and that's a natural part of growth. By accepting impermanence, you relieve the pressure to find a lifelong mission carved in stone. Instead, you focus on doing what feels most aligned in the present, letting the journey guide you forward. The middle way, cultivating balance in pursuit of purpose. Buddha's middle way teaches that extremes, whether indulgence or denial, rarely lead to lasting peace. This principle applies to finding purpose as well. Some people swing between obsessive work and utter disengagement, hoping one end of the spectrum will reveal their calling. Yet purpose emerges more organically when you maintain balance. If you push yourself too hard, you risk burnout, missing cues from your body and mind that point toward a more authentic path. If you do too little, you remain stagnant, never testing your abilities in the world. A balanced pursuit of Dharma involves dedication without self-punishment, ambition without relentless striving. Buddha himself tested extremes, living in luxury as a prince, then practicing severe asceticism. Neither satisfied his yearning for truth. The middle way ultimately guided him to enlightenment. In your own quest for purpose, balance keeps you grounded, attentive, and resilient, ready to adapt while staying true to yourself. Practical steps to walk your Dharma. Buddha's teachings are grounded in real-world action, not mere theory. Start by setting aside daily time for introspection, whether through meditation, journaling, or silent reflection. Observe the moments when you feel energized and fulfilled. These can be signposts toward your Dharma. Practice non-attachment by asking if certain goals are really yours or just inherited from societal or familial expectations. Another key step is conscious experimentation. Dare to try new roles or projects in small, manageable ways. If it resonates, delve deeper. If not, learn from the experience and move on. Service can also shape your path. Volunteer in areas that interest you, support friends and neighbors, or mentor someone in a skill you excel at. Each act of kindness refines your sense of purpose. Remember Buddha's acceptance of impermanence. Allow your dharma to evolve, trusting that each step brings you closer to a life that feels genuinely right. Your purpose isn't something you have to create. It's something you discover, something that aligns with who you truly are. The more you quiet the outside noise and listen to yourself, the clearer your path becomes. So take that first step, reflect, explore, and let go of what no longer serves you. What insight resonated with you the most today? Drop a comment and let me know. And if this wisdom speaks to you, subscribe and join our journey of self-discovery. Your purpose is waiting. It's time to embrace it. See you in the next one. Buddha's story is one of profound transformation. A prince born into wealth and luxury, he grew up shielded from life's harsh realities. Yet, despite having everything, he couldn't escape the deep sense of dissatisfaction he felt. He discovered that all life is marked by suffering, sickness, aging, and death, and set out on a quest to find a way to overcome it. What followed was a journey of self-discovery, deep meditation, and a profound revelation that would change the world forever. Today, let's explore the real story behind Buddha's enlightenment and the path he discovered to overcome suffering. Why this story matters today. We live in a world that often celebrates the pursuit of happiness, wealth, and success, yet so many still feel unfulfilled or lost. Buddha's life is a reminder that no matter how much we gain, we cannot escape the inherent suffering of life. Born in royal comfort, he had everything most could ever wish for, yet he was deeply unsettled by the suffering he saw in the world. Over 2,500 years ago, Buddha embarked on a spiritual journey to answer life's biggest question: why is there suffering and how can we end it? His teachings, focused on mindfulness, compassion, and the deep understanding of our minds, are as relevant now as they were back then. Buddha's search for meaning offers a timeless guide for overcoming suffering in our own lives, showing us that peace, joy, and enlightenment are within reach, not through external possessions, but through inner transformation. A prince's life in luxury. Siddhartha Gautama, who would later become the Buddha, was born into royalty in the 6th century BCE in what is now Nepal. His father, King Suddhodana, wanted to shield his son from the harshness of life, so he kept him within the palace walls, surrounded by wealth, beauty, and luxury. Siddhartha had everything a prince could desire: fine clothes, delicious food, and the companionship of beautiful women. Yet, despite this extravagant lifestyle, he felt a deep sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction that no material possession could fill. As a young man, Siddhartha's curiosity led him to venture outside the palace. What he saw shocked him: an old man bent with age, a sick man suffering from illness, and a dead body being carried away. He realized that no amount of wealth or pleasure could protect him from these universal experiences of suffering. It was then that Siddhartha made a momentous decision. He would leave the comforts of his palace to find a way to overcome suffering. The 4 sights and the decision to leave. Buddha's pivotal moment came when he saw what are known in Buddhist tradition as the 4 sights. The first was an old man, frail and bent with age. The second was a sick man, suffering from disease. The third was a corpse, being carried to its final resting place. And the fourth was a wandering ascetic, radiating peace and serenity despite having nothing. These sights deeply disturbed Siddhartha. For the first time, he fully understood the truth. All human beings are subject to suffering, illness, aging, and death. This realization shattered his perception of the world he had always known. Despite the luxuries surrounding him, Siddhartha couldn't escape the fact that all things are impermanent and subject to suffering. He was struck by a deep sense of urgency to find a solution. After much contemplation, he made a bold decision. He would leave his life of luxury and embark on a spiritual journey to seek a way to end suffering. The quest for truth. Siddhartha's quest for truth led him down many paths. First, he sought guidance from renowned spiritual teachers of his time. He practiced intense meditation, underwent extreme forms of self-mortification, and deprived himself of food and comfort. His aim was to push his body to the limits in an attempt to transcend suffering. Yet no matter how severe the ascetic practices became, they did not bring him closer to the peace he was searching for. In fact, they left him physically weak and mentally foggy. Realizing that extreme asceticism wasn't the answer, Siddhartha sat beneath a Bodhi tree and vowed not to rise until he found the truth. He decided to take a different approach, one rooted in balance. Buddha's insight into the middle way emerged from this moment, where he understood that neither indulgence nor severe deprivation would bring true peace. Instead, the path to enlightenment lay in living with moderation, mindfulness, and wisdom. Meditation and enlightenment. Siddhartha's moment of transformation came during a deep state of meditation beneath the Bodhi tree. For days he meditated, facing his fears, desires, and attachments. As his mind calmed, he was able to observe his thoughts without becoming overwhelmed by them. He understood the nature of suffering and how the mind perpetuates it. In that moment of clarity, Siddhartha realized that the root of suffering is attachment. Attachment to desires, identities, and the impermanent nature of life. Buddha's enlightenment was the realization that suffering arises when we cling to what is fleeting and out of our control. Once Siddhartha understood this, he experienced a profound shift. His mind was no longer clouded by desire, fear, or ignorance. He had reached enlightenment and, with it, the key to ending suffering. From that moment on, Siddhartha was known as the Buddha, the Awakened One, the Four Noble Truths. Buddha's enlightenment revealed the core teachings that would form the foundation of his philosophy, the Four Noble Truths. The first truth is that suffering is an inherent part of life. It's not something we can avoid, it is woven into the fabric of existence. The second truth reveals the cause of suffering, our attachments and desires. We cling to people, experiences, and things, expecting them to provide lasting happiness. But when these things inevitably change, we suffer. The third truth is that suffering can be overcome by letting go of attachment. Buddha taught that by relinquishing the need for constant control and embracing the impermanence of life, we can find peace. The fourth truth is the Eightfold Path, a practical guide to living with wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. This path leads to the cessation of suffering and the realization of enlightenment. Buddha's teachings offer a roadmap for transforming the mind and freeing oneself from the cycle of suffering. The Eightfold Path to end suffering. The Eightfold Path is the practical guide Buddha offered to help us end suffering. It consists of 8 interconnected practices that lead to a more mindful, ethical, and peaceful life. The first practice is right understanding, seeing the world as it truly is without distortion. The second is right intent, acting with kindness, compassion, and goodwill. Right speech involves speaking truthfully and kindly, avoiding harmful or divisive words. Right action is about living in harmony with others, refraining from harmful actions. The next 4 practices involve mental cultivation, right livelihood, earning a living in a way that doesn't cause harm, right effort, cultivating positive mental states while abandoning harmful ones, right mindfulness, being fully aware of the present moment, and right concentration, developing deep concentration and insight through meditation. These 8 practices work together to cultivate wisdom, ethical behavior, and mental discipline, leading to a life free from suffering and filled with inner peace. The nature of suffering and impermanence. Buddha's teachings emphasize the impermanence of all things. Everything is constantly changing. Nothing in this world is permanent, and the pursuit of stability in an unstable world leads to suffering. Buddha observed that our desire for permanence, for things to remain fixed, leads us to cling to relationships, objects, and experiences, which are all inevitably subject to change. This attachment to impermanent things causes us pain when they are taken away, and even when they remain, we live in fear of their eventual loss. Buddha's wisdom teaches us that true peace comes from accepting impermanence, not as something to be feared, but as a fundamental reality of existence. By embracing change and accepting the transient nature of life, we free ourselves from the anxiety and suffering that arise from trying to hold on to things that were never meant to stay forever. Buddha's legacy of peace and compassion. After achieving enlightenment, Buddha dedicated the rest of his life to teaching others how to overcome suffering. He didn't retreat into solitude, but actively engaged with the world, sharing his wisdom with anyone willing to listen. Buddha's teachings emphasize compassion as a core part of his path. He didn't just teach people how to find inner peace. He taught them how to alleviate the suffering of others. True enlightenment, Buddha believed, isn't about personal achievement. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings. By acting with kindness, compassion, and understanding, we help reduce suffering not only in ourselves, but in the world around us. Buddha's life was a living example of this truth, and his teachings have inspired millions to walk the path of peace, wisdom, and compassion. His legacy endures today, reminding us that the way to overcome suffering is not to run from it, but to face it with courage and compassion. Buddha's journey from a prince in a palace to the enlightened teacher of millions is a powerful reminder that true peace and liberation come from within. His path to overcoming suffering wasn't about seeking external solutions, but about understanding the nature of the mind and the impermanence of life. Today, Buddha's teachings continue to guide those seeking freedom from suffering, offering practical wisdom and timeless peace. Reflect on the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. How can you apply them in your life? If this story resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more insights. May Buddha's wisdom illuminate your path toward inner peace. Have you ever noticed how rare true silence is? From endless smartphone alerts to constant chatter, our modern world bombards us with noise at every turn. Yet, over 2,500 years ago, Buddha discovered that silence and solitude hold the power to calm the restless mind and unlock a deeper sense of clarity. How did he arrive at this revelation, and what can we learn from it? In this exploration, we'll uncover why monks cherish silence, how solitude shapes their wisdom, and simple ways you can tap into stillness for greater peace. The noise of everyday life. Whether it's the buzz of social media, non-stop news cycles, or the everyday hustle of work, noise has become an accepted part of modern living. We often underestimate the toll this constant stimulation takes on our mental and emotional well-being. The mind, already prone to wandering, is flooded with stimuli that demand attention. Emails, texts, streaming content, and advertisements. This barrage prevents us from pausing and checking in with our inner world, where real insight and tranquility can arise. In Buddha's time, external distractions were fewer, yet he still recognized how easily the mind could be consumed by restlessness and craving. His insight? True peace doesn't lie in controlling the outside world, but in managing the mind's response to it. Monks continue this tradition, choosing environments designed to minimize distractions. When they retreat to their cells or meditation halls, they do so not just to escape noise, but to observe the mind in its natural state. Stripping away the background clamors of daily life reveals the subtleties of thought and emotion that usually go unnoticed. In our hyper-connected era, a deliberate step back into silence can feel jarring. Yet the very discomfort that arises from solitude can teach us about our own restlessness. The key is to recognize that noise doesn't always mean sound. It can also be a mind buzzing with endless worries or regrets. Silence, then, becomes an antidote, a chance to interrupt the cycle of mental chatter and re-engage with the present moment on a deeper level. Buddha's early encounters with solitude. Before achieving enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha Gautama spent years seeking guidance from various teachers, learning disciplines like extreme asceticism. He realized that punishing the body or immersing himself in worldly pleasures both led to dead ends. The clarity he sought required a different approach, a middle way that emphasized internal balance over external extremes. One of his pivotal decisions was to meditate alone in nature, away from the tumult of village life. In these quiet forests and riverbanks, Siddhartha discovered a fundamental truth. The mind in solitude reveals its hidden layers more readily. In the absence of chatter, social obligations, or constant stimuli, thoughts float to the surface, allowing deeper self-inquiry. Rather than becoming lonely or bored, he found that solitude sharpened his awareness, helping him grasp the nature of suffering and the path to its end. This deep introspection paved the way for his enlightenment. Buddha's eventual awakening wasn't a magical bolt from the sky. It was the result of a mind gently disentangled from distraction and fully attuned to itself. Solitude gave him the mental space to observe the roots of suffering, attachment, aversion, and ignorance, and to watch them dissolve. This foundational experience underlines why monks often emphasize quiet reflection. Free from societal clamor, you can observe the mind more clearly, catching the subtle shifts that form the bedrock of personal transformation. Noble silence. In monastic tradition, in many Buddhist monasteries, noble silence is practiced for specific periods, whether it's for an hour a day or throughout an entire retreat. During these intervals, talking is discouraged or outright forbidden, except for essential communication. The idea isn't to stifle human connection, but to direct energy inward, fostering a heightened awareness of thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. Noble silence challenges the social habit of filling every gap with chatter. By refraining from speech, monks discover how much mental activity is usually spent on planning conversations, reacting to what others say, or worrying about impressions. Without these verbal exchanges, the mind settles into a calm yet alert state. In this stillness, insights arise naturally, unfiltered by the need to impress, defend, or entertain. You don't have to live in a monastery to experiment with noble silence. Even a brief morning or evening window without conversation, turning off your phone, avoiding social media, can reveal how automatically you reach for noise to fill emptiness. At first, it may feel uncomfortable or eerie, yet as you push past that initial resistance, a profound sense of inner spaciousness can unfold. The peace derived from this practice shows how quiet isn't merely an absence of sound. It's a presence of awareness, receptivity, and unspoken wisdom. How silence cultivates insight. In the Buddhist view, wisdom isn't just about gathering information. It's about seeing deeply into the nature of reality. Anger, desire, and confusion often obstruct this seeing, scattering the mind like a restless monkey leaping from branch to branch. Silence offers a steady platform from which to observe these mental fluctuations without fueling them. By not reacting outwardly with words or aggression, monks direct their focus inward, noticing the subtleties of each emotion. Imagine sitting by a calm lake. When the surface is still, the water reflects its surroundings with clarity. But if you toss stones into it or create ripples, the reflection distorts. Our minds work the same way. A silent environment helps keep the lake of our mind calm, allowing us to perceive underlying truths, impermanence, interconnectedness, and the illusory nature of ego. Once these truths become part of our lived experience rather than merely intellectual ideas, wisdom naturally arises. Moreover, silence paves the way for deeper forms of meditation, such as vipassana, insight meditation, where practitioners systematically watch each sensation and thought. Without external noise or the urge to speak, the meditator zeroes in on the present moment. This heightened state of mindfulness gradually erodes ignorance, the fundamental misunderstanding about who we are and how the world works, and replaces it with a more compassionate, fluid understanding of existence, overcoming the fear of being alone. For many people, silence is synonymous with isolation, and isolation stirs up fear. We worry about boredom, about confronting unresolved emotions, or about missing out on social connections. Yet Buddha's teachings highlight that true loneliness often isn't cured by surrounding ourselves with people or conversation. It's alleviated by truly knowing and befriending our own minds. Monks actively choose solitude for the exact reason many fear it: to face themselves. In quiet settings, unresolved issues emerge, along with old memories and buried emotions. Far from being detrimental, this surfacing is a form of self-healing. By bravely letting these hidden aspects come to light, monks can process and let go of them, achieving a more stable sense of well-being. You don't have to devote hours each day to solitude to reap its benefits. Even a 20-minute walk in a quiet park or a brief unplugged morning ritual can help you learn how to be alone without feeling lonely. Consider journaling in silence, writing down whatever thoughts bubble up. Often, the scariest part is before you start. Once you settle into the silence, you may find a welcome sense of relief, a realization that being alone isn't emptiness. It's an opportunity to reconnect with what truly matters. Practical steps to embrace stillness. If you're looking to integrate the wisdom of silence and solitude into your daily life, start small. First, designate a quiet corner in your home, a space free from digital devices. Spend 10 minutes there each morning or evening, focusing on your breath. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back. This simple routine begins reprogramming your brain to feel comfortable with silence. Second, consider scheduling short, silent breaks during the day. Maybe it's stepping away from your desk to sip tea in silence, or turning off the car radio for a few minutes before driving. Note any discomfort that arises and question it. Why does silence feel unsettling? What am I avoiding? By inquiring, you gain insights into your mental habits. Third, explore mindful walks in nature. Leave your phone behind. Notice the crunch of gravel underfoot, the rustle of leaves, or the interplay of light and shadow. Such experiences ground you in the present and reveal how vibrant life can be when unclouded by mental chatter. Finally, try a short, silent retreat, an afternoon or full day without speaking or indulging in digital noise. It may feel challenging at first, but you might be surprised at how quickly your mind adapts and how refreshing true stillness can be. How silence enhances compassion and connection. It may sound paradoxical, but spending time in solitude can actually heighten your ability to connect with others. Monks exemplify this principle. Although they often live apart from society, they remain deeply compassionate and service-oriented. Why? Because silence and stillness clarify the mind, making space for empathy to flourish. When you're not perpetually distracted, you can better tune in to another person's struggles, picking up on subtle emotional cues you might otherwise miss. Buddha emphasized that wisdom and compassion go hand in hand. As you quiet the noisy demands of ego, I want this, I need that, you become more attuned to the shared humanity around you. Your heart naturally opens, no longer bogged down by superficial desires or insecurities. Rather than draining you, solitude energizes you to be fully present in your interactions. Whether you're listening to a friend's troubles or volunteering in the community, silence can also strengthen relationships by teaching you the value of mindful speech. When you speak less, you choose your words more carefully, often conveying kindness and sincerity. People sense this quality and respond in kind. Over time, the calm you cultivate within extends outward, creating a ripple effect of peace and understanding in your personal circles and beyond. Silence isn't just an absence of noise. It's a path to deeper wisdom, compassion, and self-discovery. Buddha's lesson on solitude and stillness invites us to step back from life's endless distractions and reconnect with our own minds. By embracing quiet moments, we sharpen our awareness, heal from within, and open our hearts to others. If these insights resonate, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel Monk Mindset for more timeless wisdom. Feel free to share your reflections in the comments below. May the peace and clarity of silence guide you toward a more mindful, fulfilling life.